Oh, sorry. So just a quick question for both of you. What was probably the hardest character to develop a voice for? I know you guys have voiced a lot, but was there any character that you were told, make a voice for this character, and you kind of struggled to maybe come up with a voice for, or maybe find something that would fit that character exact?
Wally Burr was brilliant.
I'm glad to hear you say that.
He was brilliant because he put out maybe 20 breakdowns on a table with scripts. He would have people in and say, pick 3 that suit you best. You were to look through everything, and he wasn't deciding what you thought you could do. You were deciding what you thought you could do. That's unbelievably heroic in voiceover, because it tends to attract people that want to kind of control the situation. Rightfully, because they have a sense of what's going on, as did he. I'm not saying he didn't exert control, because he did tremendously, but look at the longevity that's the result of that control.
We're here because of his work.
So Wally called me, and he said, I have good news and bad news. I said, what's the good news? He said, Hasbro loves you for Grimlock. I said, oh my God, what's the bad news? He said, they're worried about whether you can maintain and sustain that level of tonsil abuse. I said, put me in, coach. I'll figure it out. I said, I'm swinging for the fences every time you put me in. I'll be there. I'll go to the voice gym. I'll do whatever it takes. I want to say an unqualified yes, but yeah, it's a very high strain voice, and in the beginning, I was actually hinging my jaws to make sure that I was doing that as well, which restricts your mouth, which restricts your throat, which restricts your voice. And I knew I had a big muscle and a small brain, so it goes to work on that too. So that was and remains the hardest voice I've ever done. But I'm so much better an actor for having committed to it and made my voice strong enough to withstand that time after time after time after time. The easiest voice is Eeyore. The more I do Eeyore, the better my throat feels. It's like a massage on top of a massage. And those were big hooves to step into, too. Disney is fiercely, and rightfully defensive and protective of their licensed images. So they sent me home with tapes of the original Eeyore, Ralph Wright.
Was that Ron Gans?
Ralph Wright was before Ron Gans. And I just heard that he basically had 2 notes. This one and this one. But the longevity, the lifetime between things that start up here and end up down here, and things that start down here and end up here, it's infinite. And everybody loves the fact that he never gets too happy, never gets too sad, but he hopes you have a nice day, 'cause somebody oughta.
I think Shrapnel was a fun one for me to do. And all they said was, and Shrapnel, Insecticon. And they said,
a tick, maybe.
Huh? Yeah, well, that's what they said. He repeats. So I thought about it, and I was looking around at the people that were in the show, and I thought, well, if I did this old lady from Monty Python who sits there and knits while they're at the guillotine, and she's just, guillotine! And I thought, well, I'll just throw her in as Shrapnel, and then I'll just take the first letter off the repeat, and instead of, say, Transformer, I'll say, Ransformer. Yes, my Insecticons to cons. So that was... And that's utilizing a female voice for a male voice. It's like, they talk about what is the the compass for characters. There's big, there's little big, and there's big little. You can use a little voice for a big guy and a big voice for a little guy, and you can use a big voice for a big guy, or whatever. It's like it's all up to the imagination. And I think there's two things that really make, for me, that really make the artistry, and that is when you can throw your spirit and you can throw your imagination into the voice. Then that lifts it off the page, and that makes people listen to it. I mean, I'm sure that's exactly what we have every time we walk into the booth. Isn't that right? You connect with the writing that's there. You try to figure out what that voice is from the writer that he's given you, and then you try to go, okay, with my imagination and with my spirit, I will bring that to the fore. And you can't underestimate the power of your imagination. In this business, you need it more than just about anything else, I would think.
It's the unteachable part.
It is.
The compiling you can teach. The analytical reading and sort of coming up with something you can teach. You cannot teach someone how to dive in. It's as though each of those things is a layer, and you are on a diving board, and you have to spring and dive through those things that you've been gifted with, and something original has to come out the other side.
And remain authentic.
And absolutely remain authentic. That's the job.
A couple of things you should know when you're developing characters. If it hurts your throat, you're doing it wrong. Find somebody to help you do it right. And also, you have to have a laugh and a cry for every character you do. Without a laugh and a cry, you're going to lack the emotional arc that the character is going to need.
And there's also placement, which is actually just like chakras. You can come from the top of your head. You can come from your nasal cavity. You can come from your throat. You can come from your heart. They say your money voice is the one that resonates right in here, and then your nether regions as well. You can get more animal. You can get more celestial just by where you place yourself in your head and body. There's a lot of stuff. I'm not saying that we're not skilled technicians at our craft, as anyone is. There's that Outliers book by Malcolm Gladwell that says anyone is 10,000 hours of hard work away from mastery of anything. We've already swung the heavy bats. We've loaded the gear into the van to play at the small clubs. We did all that stuff, so it becomes easier for the violinist in the symphony to just pick up her violin and play. But that's not how it began. It begins with hard work, and the harder you work, the sweeter the results. If someone says, "You're the one, you're who we want."
And the key is getting through rejection. There is a lot of rejection.
Yeah,
you
good
will
luck
hear
with that.
no so many times in your life that you have to turn no, N-O, into K-N-O-W, and know why you got no. So you can bypass that, work around it, and find a new way to get yes. Very, very important, and that's imagination. Looking at what you did wrong and going, oh, I can see another way to do it then. And having the skill set and the practice to be able to do that.
But do we do silly voices? You're damn right we do.
We're the class clowns. We're the ones that were, breaking up the class, and everybody said, you will never go anywhere until you learn to shut up and listen to what you're told.
Frank Welker once turned to me and said, well, it was this or college.
I think he made the right choice.
Yeah.